The wind screamed across the dead wasteland, carrying sharp grains of sand that scratched Sierra's bruised skin. Her body hurt all over, her legs barely holding her up. She had been walking for days. Her bright green skin had turned pale and cracked from thirst. Above her, 2 cold moons glowed in the dark sky, casting long shadows on the dry, broken ground. Her people had left her here, not because she broke any law, not because she betrayed anyone, but because she was weak. Sierra was the smallest of her kind, a letdown in the eyes of the Vorin. In their culture, only the strong mattered. If someone was seen as weak, either in body or in heart, they were cast out, left to die alone on a place like this. She tripped again, barely catching herself before hitting the ground. Dirt and blood mixed in her mouth. Her vision swam, her knees gave out. Above her, the stars spun in strange circles, and then everything went black. But then, a sound, low, deep, humming. Not the wind, not the ground. Something else. Something unnatural. She couldn't move, her body too far gone. But her mind screamed, a ship. Someone had come. She tried to lift her head. It was no use. She could only lie there, breathing in slow gasps, as the sound grew louder and nearer. A shadow passed over her face. The moonlight disappeared. A sharp, metallic hiss echoed around her. A ship was landing. Through her half-closed eyes, she saw a figure stepping out. It was big, strong. It moved with calm purpose. Then another came, and another. Heavy boots hit the dust. Humans. Her heart jumped in fear. She had never seen one before. Only the terrifying stories told by the elders. Stories of destroyers, world-eaters, murderers. Beasts in human skin who laughed while planets burned. And now they were here. Sierra tried to crawl away. Her mind screamed for her to move. Her body refused. She was frozen in place, helpless. A voice echoed above her. Deep, rough. "We've got something here." Another voice followed, softer but firm. "She's barely breathing." Then suddenly, arms. Gentle hands lifted her. She should have panicked. Her body should have fought. But instead, for the first time, she felt something strange. Not terror, not pain. She felt safe. Before she could understand why, the darkness pulled her under again. Sierra drifted between sleep and waking. She heard voices, low and unclear. Machines hummed softly around her. Something warm touched her skin. She hadn't felt warmth in days. It was almost nice. She forced her eyes open. Bright white light made her blink. The ceiling above her was smooth and silver, full of strange panels. This was not a Vorin ship. The air smelled clean, sharp, but also different. She couldn't explain it. Then came a voice. "She's awake." Her heart jumped. She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her arms and legs. She gasped, her breath quick and shallow. Her mind screamed again, "Danger!" She looked down. She was connected to a machine. Tubes ran into her arm, filled with a glowing blue liquid. She panicked, tried to pull them out. "Whoa, easy there." The voice made her freeze. 3 humans were in the room. The first was huge, with crossed arms and short, messy hair. His face was calm, not like the monsters she had imagined. The second was a woman with long brown hair, dressed in clothes covered in symbols Sierra didn't understand. She held a device, scanning it over Sierra's body. The third was younger, close to Sierra's own age. His eyes looked kind, concerned. Still, they were humans, the beasts her people feared for generations. She curled up on the bed, pressing herself into the corner. Her small body trembled. "She's terrified," the woman whispered. "Of course she is," the young one, whom his name would later be known as Theo, said. "She probably thinks we're going to eat her." Sierra's breath caught. Eat her? That's what the elders had said. That humans were meat-eaters, savage killers who ate anything they conquered. The woman crouched by the bed. She kept her hands visible, her voice soft. "You're safe, we're not here to hurt you." Sierra didn't move. Then Theo pulled something from his belt. A food bar. He broke off a piece, put it in his mouth, chewed, then held another piece out to her. "It's just protein," he said gently. "Not poisoned, I promise." Her stomach twisted painfully. How long had it been since she'd eaten? She reached out slowly, her fingers brushing his hand before she snatched the piece. She sniffed it. It didn't smell bad. Carefully, she took a bite and suddenly a flavor, sweet, warm, rich. She couldn't stop herself. She ate the rest in a flash. Theo smiled. Guess she was hungry, the big man grunted. I'll let Captain Morgan know she's awake. The woman stood. Let's give her some time first. She's been through hell. They started to leave. Theo paused at the door, turned back, and gave her a smile. We're not that bad, you know. And then he was gone. Sarah stared down at her hands, still dusted with crumbs. She had been taught to fear them, but in this quiet, cold room, she wasn't scared of the humans. She was scared of what her own people had done to her. Sarah sat quietly on the edge of the soft, strange bed, her hands resting in her lap, still smelling faintly of the protein bar Theo had given her. The taste lingered, reminding her of hunger she had forgotten while wandering the wasteland. The humans were gone now, but their voices and their strange kindness echoed in her mind. Her people had never spoken so gently, never touched her with care, never smiled. She had been told humans were monsters, violent, savage, cold, but these ones had helped her. They had treated her like she mattered. A soft hiss startled her. The door to her room opened with a smooth slide, and the tall, silent man from earlier, the one who had barely spoken, stepped inside. His presence filled the room like a quiet storm. His arms were still crossed over his chest, but his steps were slow, as if he didn't want to scare her. Captain wants to talk to you, he said, his voice deep but not unkind. Sira's body stiffened. The word captain was familiar. The one who made decisions, who gave orders. Her own people's captains had decided she was worthless. What would this one decide? I'm not going to drag you, the man said. But we don't have all day. She didn't move. He sighed and added, You've got two choices. Stay here and starve, or come meet the captain. Her stomach twisted again at the word starve. Slowly, painfully, she pushed herself off the bed. Her legs trembled, but she stayed upright. The man didn't touch her. He simply turned and started walking. Sira followed. The ship's halls were long and made of cold, perfect metal. Strange, blinking lights lit their way. Humans passed them, glancing at her with interest but not hatred. She was waiting for someone to glare, for someone to call her a freak. But no one did. She stayed a few steps behind the man. She didn't even know his name. Finally, they entered a room that looked different, more important. A single man sat behind a table, a glowing screen in front of him. His uniform had small shiny marks and unfamiliar symbols. He was older than the others, but strong. Sharp eyes lifted and locked on Sira the moment she stepped inside. So, he said, setting the screen aside, You're awake. She stayed frozen near the door. The tall man beside her spoke for her. She's not much of a talker, Captain. I don't blame her, the captain replied, then turned his full attention to her. I'm Captain Morgan, and you, young lady, are a bit of a mystery. Sira said nothing. Her mouth felt dry, her throat ached from silence and fear. You were found alone on a dead planet, Morgan said calmly. No supplies, no signal, no crash, just you, barely alive. He leaned forward. So tell me, why? Sira clenched her fists. She couldn't say it. She didn't want to say the words out loud. The captain's gaze sharpened. You're foreign, aren't you? She flinched. We've met your kind before, always hostile, always looking down on us like we're dirty. That was true. Her people thought humans were less wild beasts that flew too far into the stars. Morgan didn't seem angry, though. Just curious, I need to ask, he continued. Were you left on that planet? Her heart skipped. He knew. She didn't answer, but her face said enough. The captain looked at the tall man next to him and muttered, Figures. He sat back. All right, here's the deal. We're a rescue ship. We don't leave people to die if we can help it. But if you're staying here, there are rules. Sira blinked. Staying? You're not a prisoner, Morgan added, but we're not risking. It's our crew either. So you'll be watched until we understand more about your situation, not a prisoner. That was new. Her people didn't believe in second chances. I'll have someone bring you real food, he said. You'll get a room, a proper one, and rest, but you'll earn your place here. Understand? Syrah didn't nod, didn't speak. She just stared at the table, her thoughts spinning. Any questions? He asked. She hesitated. Her voice, when it came, was nothing more than a whisper. Why? The room fell silent. Morgan studied her. His answer was simple. Because it's the right thing to do. Syrah's chest ached. The right thing. Her people, the mighty Voren, had left her for dead. These creatures, the ones she had been, taught to hate and fear, had saved her without even knowing who she was. She looked down, trying to make sense of it. Everything was upside down. Later that day, Syrah sat quietly at a small metal table inside her new room. The walls were smooth, silver grey, and a gentle light hummed from the ceiling. In front of her was a steaming bowl of soup. The smell was strange, rich, thick, warm, not like anything she had ever tasted before. A young human woman stood nearby. Her hair was dark and tied back, and her smile was calm. It's just soup, the woman said. It won't bite. Syrah stared at it. She had eaten only paste and rations her entire life. Her kind didn't. Cook for taste, just survival. Slowly, with shaking fingers, she picked up the spoon and dipped it into the broth. The warmth spread into her hand. She brought it to her lips. The flavor exploded in her mouth, deep, comforting. It made her chest tighten. The woman grinned. Told you. Syrah looked up at her, confused. Why are you doing this? The woman blinked, surprised. Because you need food. Syrah shook her head. No. Why are you being kind? The smile faded just a little. The woman crouched beside her, her voice softer. You really don't know, do you? Syrah didn't answer. Because that's what humans do, she said. We take care of each other, and sometimes we take care of those who need it, even if they're not like us. Syrah's throat burned. Her own people had left her for dead because she was weak. These humans, the ones she was told were monsters, were treating her like she mattered. She took another spoonful of soup and swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. That night Captain Morgan called her again. The room was darker now, lit only by a glowing screen in front of him. The tall man, she had learned his name was Jace, stood beside him, quiet as always. We found something, the captain said. You need to see it. Syrah stepped forward. The screen began playing a recording. At first it showed a dusty planet, the same one she had nearly died on. Then a ship flew across the sky. Her breath caught. She knew that ship. It was a Voren transport. Her people. The recording had sound too. A voice, once cold, sharp, without feeling, echoed through the room. This one is weak. She will not survive. We cannot carry a burden. Leave her. Syrah's knees shook. She reached for the table to steady herself. She knew that voice. Commander Sovan. He had trained her, praised her once, and he had left her because she was weak. Captain. Morgan didn't say anything for a moment. Then his voice came, low and steady. You already suspected this, didn't you? Syrah couldn't speak. Her mouth was dry, her eyes burned. They left me, she finally whispered. They just left me. Theo, standing nearby now, crossed his arms. Yeah, kid. They did. Silence hung in the room like heavy smoke. Syrah's chest burned, but she refused to cry in front of them. Not again. I've seen a lot in this galaxy, Morgan said after a long pause. Empires rise, people fall, rulers make selfish choices, but I've never seen humans leave someone behind. Syrah looked up at him, startled. Even our worst. Theo added, we'd rather die fighting than let someone rot alone. The words hit harder than she expected. Her people, proud, powerful, perfect, had called her a burden. These humans, flawed and feared by her kind, had risked their lives to save her. She wasn't sure who the monsters were anymore. The captain leaned forward, eyes sharp. You don't owe them anything now, you hear me? And that was the moment. It clicked. She had been living her whole life trying to be accepted by people who had never cared, who had never truly seen her. But these strangers? They had seen her when she was broken, when she was useless, and they had chosen to help anyway. For the first time, she didn't feel like she had to prove anything. Later that evening, Sierra found herself walking into a new part of the ship, a training bay. Theo stood there, spinning a small practice knife in his hand. He looked up when she entered. "You gonna keep sulking?" he asked, "or actually do something about it?" Sierra narrowed her eyes. "Do what?" Theo tossed the knife toward her. She caught it without thinking. Instinct. Prove them wrong. She gripped the handle tighter. "I don't care what they think." "Maybe," he said, "but you care what you think." She opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. "Come on, princess," he teased. "Let's see what you got." "Not a princess," she muttered. "Then show me." She didn't hesitate. She lunged. Sierra lunged toward Theo, her grip tight around the training knife. He blocked her easily, laughing under his breath. "Too slow," he said, knocking her arm aside. She gritted her teeth and came at him again, this time faster, sharper. She moved with all the speed and precision her Voran training had taught her. But Theo, he was always one step ahead. She struck again and again, but he deflected every move like it was nothing. "Stop holding back." She snapped, frustration in her voice. He raised a brow. "How you think you can handle me going all out?" "Try me," she hissed. Theo grinned. "As you wish." Before she could even blink, he moved. A blur. The knife flew from her hand, and in a second she was flat on her back, wind knocked from her lungs. She gasped, stunned. He stood over her, offering a hand. "Not bad," he said, "for someone still figuring out who she is." Sierra stared up at him, her pride bruised, but deep down she couldn't deny it, and he was right. She had spent her life trying to be what the Voran expected. Now, she was learning to be something else. She took his hand, letting him pull her. "Up, you've got potential," he said, "but you've got to let go of whatever nonsense they fed you about humans." She hesitated. Could she? All her life she had seen humans as the enemy. But now, she looked him in the eye. "Teach me," she said. Theo smiled wide. "Thought you'd never ask." Days later, the alarm sirens echoed through the ship. The Voran had returned. Sierra stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, Captain Morgan beside her, both staring at the massive enemy warship on the screen. It was dark, sleek, and deadly. The HFY, flagship of the Voran fleet. Her people had not come to rescue her, they had come to erase her. "They're hailing us," Jace announced. Sierra nodded, her voice steady. "Put them through." The screen flickered, revealing a cold face from her past. Commander Sovan. His violet eyes locked on hers, unreadable. "I see you've survived," he said dryly. "Despite the odds. Or perhaps because of them." His eyes shifted to the humans behind her. "You left me to die," Sierra said, her voice sharp now. "We discarded the weak," Sovan replied, no regret in his tone. "You were a burden." Captain Morgan took a step forward, his tone laced with quiet fury. "You abandoned a child. She was unworthy of the Voran," Sovan said coldly. "And now she stands among your kind, filthy, tainted." Silence fell across the bridge. Sierra's fists clenched. "What happens if I refuse to return?" she asked, her voice cold. Sovan let out a bitter laugh. "Return? You misunderstand. Sierra, you are not welcome among us. You are a stain. You will die with them." The screen went black, and then the battle began. The Voran ships moved fast, deadly, dancing through space like shadows with blades. The Vanguard shook as the first shots hit. Alarms screamed through the hallways. "Shields up," Morgan shouted. "Theo, get to the cannons." "Been waiting for this?" Theo grinned, running out. Sierra flew to her console. Her fingers danced. Across the controls, sweat beading on her brow. "They're jamming our long-range signals," she said. "No chance to call back up." "Figures," Morgan muttered. "They want this to be quiet." A voice crackled through the speakers. "Jace, let's make some noise." The ship's weapons roared to life, lighting the stars with fire. But the Voran were fast, their formation perfect. Their tech deadly. Sierra's heart pounded. They wouldn't survive in a straight fight. But then she remembered. A weakness. All Voran ships had a flaw in their sensors. She had been trained to hide it. Now, she would use it. "Captain," she called, "I have an idea." "Do it." She reprogrammed the Vanguard's energy output, twisting the ship's signature, making it look like its core was overheating. A fake, critical failure. A trick. The Vanguard dove into a nearby asteroid field. The Voran ships followed. That was their mistake. Sira triggered the trap. She detonated charges placed across the field. The blast rocked space, sending massive rocks flying. The Voran ships, built for speed and not debris, slammed into the chaos. Their perfect order fell apart. Theo whooped over the comms. "Damn, kid, that was genius," Morgan grinned. "Remind me not to play chess with you." Sira didn't smile. Not yet. She had one last move. She locked onto Sovan's flagship. Fired. The plasma blast tore through its hull. The mighty warship, the symbol of her people, began to burn. Sovan's ship faltered, and then the Voran retreated. They were running. This time, she wasn't. The Vanguard drifted slowly through the stars, wounded but alive. The battle was over. The ship was quiet. Sira sat in the common room staring at an empty cup in her hands. She didn't feel like a hero. She just felt different. Morgan stepped in and sat across from her. "Can't sleep?" She shook her head, still thinking. He nodded slowly. "You did good, kid." She looked up. "They'll come back." "Probably." A long pause stretched between them. Then he asked, "So, what now?" Sira took a breath. Deep. Calm. "Full of something new. I think it's time I stopped looking back. She wasn't Voran anymore. She wasn't abandoned. She wasn't alone." She smiled faintly, her eyes finally steady. "So, when's my first mission?"